Welcome to the Explosive Strength Podcast with Jared Bidney. On today's episode, I have Kyle and KC here with me of MPH Throwing Academy. And the thing I like about Kyle and KC is they're not clients of mine, but they do own their own throwing facility.
We do.
And what I like about them is they actually throw themselves to try to show results. So they're just not people, average people, or mom and dad out there trying to teach their kid how to throw. They're actually throwing themselves, getting results themselves, and passing it on to others, kind of living, learning, and passing on. So we're just going to talk about baseball, strength, and improvement with baseball and throwing, and just hopefully we can answer some of the questions that have come to me on my email and Instagram. So anyway, here we go with Kyle and KC.
Awesome. So the first thing I wanted to point out, we actually do throw ourselves. We get a lot of weird looks from that, I guess, because people are wondering why a 28-year-old and a 26-year-old still throw. And one of the things that we like to experience for our athletes is a lot of athletes don't understand that they're going to fail in training. We want to be able to know what that feels like. So we've actually trained in order to fail. About 8 months ago, I set a goal of trying to pull down at 100 miles an hour again at 28. Thankfully, I was able to do it. But it was just literally setting a goal and trying to see if I could go get it.
What's a pull down for those that don't know?
So a pull down catches a lot of flack in our game by the dad coaches on Twitter. But ultimately, a pull down is a max intent throw, a max effort throw. Most of the time, it's related to kind of like a crow hop from an outfielder. So as much movement as possible, you can run as fast as you want, or you can just kind of build into it if you'd like, but ultimately it's a max intent throw. You run into it, come up, throw the ball as hard as humanly possible.
Whatever you can throw, no matter what it looks like.
Yes, absolutely. Because what we're looking for is how well does your kinetic chain actually link up at 100 at 100% intent level? How well do you sync up?
Basically, maximum effort method for baseball.
Absolutely. Yep. And then you'll see guys that will be 98 on a pull down. And then they throw 85 off the mound, and then there shouldn't be that big discrepancy shouldn't be there. So then we can start to understand, well, does that guy just move really well when he's running, or why does he not move that well on the mound? Why doesn't he generate that same amount of force on the mound?
Kind of like a strength deficit. For like, I'll have some guys that can do a standing vertical and then do a running vertical, and they have a big discrepancy, or sometimes they're real close, and if they're real close, it tells me how to train them.
Right.
Are y'all finding that out?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it helps us understand who translates better from doing what we're doing to the mound. A lot of the flack that pull downs get is that you don't run and throw a pitch. Mm-hmm. Well, we understand that. You also don't lift the barbell when you pitch either, but they're both necessary.
Yeah, that's funny that you said that. The people say, well, in their sport, they don't jump in their sport.
Right.
Well, jumping is a rate of force development.
Right.
If I can get you to learn how to develop force quicker,
yeah,
and jumping and running is correlated, you'll actually run faster.
Absolutely. And
so I hate it. It really does bother me that when people say, hey, we don't do this from this mound. Okay, you don't, but by doing a pull down, we're going to have you to be able to throw harder and faster off the mound, because we have to kind of, like sometimes when people come in here and bench press, it's kind of a cheating method, or kind of what I call a future method. Yeah. Okay, so like if they can bench 315 with their butt up, I'll come back clean. We're going to go back. Now we're going to start with your butt on the bench. Your body's felt at 315. You've pressed 315. So mentally and physically, you've done it. Yeah. And so now what we're going to do is we'll go back, clean the technique up, keep the butt on the bench, and then we'll get to 315 like that. Now we've got to clean 315. Then we may cheat again. Maybe get to 365, come back, clean it up. So we got different forms of benching. If we always stay strict like a pitching technique, or if we always stay like a clean, perfect bench technique, we won't ever experience like a future method or what the body's fully capable of, like flying tens when you're doing sprints and things like that. So, so I can understand the importance of the pull down.
The psychological feel of, punching 100 is a big thing. It feels great. It's just like hitting a bench number, right? You go by plates or whatever it is, and obviously when you hit that number, there's something mentally that goes off that says I'm on that tier. Yeah. No matter how you do it, there is something to be said for that tier. Now, can you do it clean? So for us, you punched 100 on a pull down. That's awesome. We celebrate. Now let's go punch 100 off the mound. Let's go chase it. Mm-hmm. Because your arm knows what 100 feels like, and you know what 100 feels like, and it feels good, and you chase that. We love to say velocity is probably the best drug in sports, because there's nothing like punching 100. Same thing like in the weight room. There's nothing like hitting a PR with big numbers. There's nothing like it. You can't emulate it anywhere else.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty smart, and I think if people understood the science like y'all do behind it, they'll understand why you're doing a pull down. And I hate it well, we don't do this. Hey, look, people don't like the jump mats. I don't care if you like the jump mats. I don't care if it correlates to something. All I care about is consistent.
Yep,
it's
absolutely.
a consistent measuring device.
Yeah.
If they're getting better and it's not correlated to a direct vertex jump, if they improve the mat, they're going to improve the vertex jump. It don't have to be directly or specifically what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I think you have to have some form of measurement.
Yep.
You have to chase a goal. And whatever y'all have testing, y'all test all the time, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we'll test in a lot of different areas. A lot of the things that we get from our athletes, we've actually had a coach tell us before that they thought that all we did was do pull downs into a net 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. And of course, instead of telling him what we actually do, we said, you're right, that's exactly what we do, which is not what we do at all. But our testing goes everything from, we have mobility screening when our athletes come in. Mm-hmm. We sit down, we have like goal assessments. We want to look at what their body weight looks like. We want to look at what their range of motions look like. We want to know, do they throw strikes? Do they actually have good pitches? And then we want to see, what does the velocity look like? How well does your arm move? Do you have pain in your arm? What does your warm-up look like? Do you even have a recovery program at all? So we test all of these things, and then we try to see, okay, what areas do you suck? And then get better at the things you suck at. That's really how you get better at sports, is get better at the things you suck at, and you'll get better at the sport.
Yeah, and that's what really aggravates me when people come in here. They see that, oh, we're benching, we're squatting, we're jumping, we're working out basically.
Right.
But they don't understand we're developing different strength qualities. We're working on rates of force development. We're working on different strength qualities, whether it be speed strength or strength speed.
Right.
And so, and how you prescribe your sets and reps will allow an athlete to get stronger without getting bigger.
Right.
Or I can make them bigger without getting stronger.
Right.
And so for the most part, I'm dealing with athletes. I'm dealing with football players. I'm dealing, and good thing about football players, the high school strength coaches are making them bigger, so I can just make them stronger, so I don't even have to worry about that. And so like for my lacrosse girls, my lacrosse guys, my baseball people, they can come in here, even my basketball guys, we can just come in here and get strong without having to worry about getting big.
Right.
Because they need to be relatively strong to the sport. If you get too big, you're gonna be immobile, you can't throw. And so that's the one thing. I had a kid, Colton Hauser, he benched 405 for 2 as a high school junior. And he only had 15-inch arms. So his arms were not very big.
Yeah,
He didn't look big, so his sleeves were not tight.
Right.
And so people said, how can he be that? That's not right. Well, that's because you don't know anything about strength training.
You don't understand the difference between strength and just looking strong. Those are different things.
And so that's kind of like frustrating. And how do y'all get away from the stigma of people coming in, they just do pull downs? Because I try to explain to the parents and I show them running results. Mm-hmm. I show them different results from whatever I'm trying to track.
Yeah.
This is a results-oriented place, just like y'all.
Yeah. So when we first started, we had to sell it a lot and kind of say, hey, we're not all about pull downs. Come in. And so we started something for all of our athletes, and we actually make our clients do it. All of our athletes must go through one training day with us for free. Mm-hmm. You can't pay us for that, because ultimately, if you don't want to be there, we don't want you there.
Yep.
So the way we get away from people just thinking it's pull downs is you come in and we'll train you.
Yep.
And we're going to walk you right through everything that we do. And then when you ask us, hey, can you show me how hard my 10-year-old son throws? I'm going to say, well, no, because that's not safe today. That's not how this is done. So then we're going to take them through the whole program, see what it looks like. It's the same thing with putting 225 on the bar and seeing how fast you can move it. It may not look as cool as the pull downs, or it may not look as cool as 405, but it's a necessary piece. So for us, that's in the plyo care area. So we have the plyo care balls, which are the rubber weighted balls. We throw those, and sometimes you're throwing those at 40% effort level. Mm-hmm. So we get away from the stigma by showing the results for the guys that train with us, the fact that they're healthy, the fact that they stay healthy, the fact that they're better than other people, that they're not another junior in high school that throws 79 miles an hour and is wondering why he doesn't have any college scholarships. Well, because he throws 79 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So you show the results. You show the fact that your kids are good and that you have kids that work their tails off. Is really how we do it.
Yeah, and sometimes like not being cool. Like I had a kid come to me the other day, and just a little 10-year-old had front squatting, 95 pounds. He said, Jared, this is too easy. I said, you're not moving it fast enough.
Right.
So I put a tender unit on, which measures bar speed, how fast he's moving it. And it said, if you can move it at this range, 0.6 is kind of what I like to start everybody off at, 0.6 meters per second.
Yeah.
And he was only getting a 4.8. I said, too slow.
Not gonna work.
And then he started cutting his reps, so he's doing a quarter squat, and it was even slower. I said, you need full range, and you need to move at this speed. Once you're able to do that, once you're able to learn how to apply a force to the bar, then you can move on. And they want more weight, big wheels.
Absolutely.
But sometimes it's not about more, it is about more weight, big wheels, but at the appropriate speed.
Correct.
And so people think that we're lifting weights, we're lifting heavy weights. Yeah, but if you're lifting a heavy weight, so if you're squatting 405, it's moving at 0.3 meters per second, that's not the specific strength range that we're trying to make you or develop you in.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so if we're looking for strength speed to where we've got to be able to move a heavy load at a certain rate of speed,
Yep.
it's going to correlate more to speed strength,
Yep.
which is a light load movement maximum velocity, kind of almost like a throw.
Yep. And that's ultimately for baseball guys, there's always been this stigma about you can't get too big or you can't do bench press or whatever. But ultimately, you've got to be able to move things really, really quickly, especially in our sport where I would say 90% of what we do is under 2-second movements. A throw, if it takes you 2 seconds to get to the plate, let's just say from the stretch, if it takes you 2 seconds to get to the plate, you're probably going to get yanked out of the game. I mean, that's a long time. People are going to run on you forever. So if you can't apply force quickly, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
We see our little guys, our guys that are smaller body weight wise that throw really hard. They're not super strong athletes, but they can apply force pretty well and they move really efficiently. So it's not always about like, yeah, I can punch 100. Like if you can punch 93 and you weigh 130 pounds, then we realize like there's a lot to go here. Like if you just even walk by a weight room, you might be able to throw harder just because you walk by it.
So you think the weight room's important for throwing?
I think it's necessary.
Yeah, so you got some athletes that can throw really fast without being very strong.
Correct.
But you got some super strong guys that can throw very fast, but may not be as technical.
Yeah, so you
kind of cover that.
So for me, so we'll just take me for
Okay.
example. I weigh 170 pounds right now. I probably cannot squat 230 pounds. I'd probably sit it down. I can still be high 80s, maybe punch 90 miles an hour off the mound, and I can still pull down above 97 miles an hour without throwing at all. For me, it's because I'm not really strong, but I move at an elite level as far as like movement goes.
You got a good high rate of force development.
Absolutely. I apply force really well, and then I transfer it through my body really, really well. And then we have kids that don't do that, and they throw really slow because they're also weak. If you're going to put all your eggs in one basket, let's say you put them all in movement, that's fine. You're going to move really, really well. And maybe your ceiling without your strength development is 84. Well, that's not going to play anywhere. I mean, it can play at a small school, and if there's nothing wrong with small schools. I played at a small school, but if that's not your goal, if your goal is to play at Tech, 84 is not going to play. So then the weight room's got to be a thing for you.
Because strength is your limiting factor.
Correct, for that guy. Yeah, and then for some guys, we have guys that are really, really strong. We have a kid who's extremely strong from like a baseball perspective, not just a general strength perspective. Pretty strong kid, but he tops 92 miles an hour and he's 6'5", and he weighs like 215. That guy should not top at 92 miles an hour. That guy should be 94 to 96. But ultimately for him, he just doesn't move well. So I would say if you're gonna put your eggs in a basket, get piss strong.
Yeah, so get pissed strong. I like that.
I mean, that's the basket.
And so once you get strong, then you can work on your rate of force development and your limiting factor,
Absolutely.
which is your technical ability.
Correct. Which I would say it's a lot easier to learn how to move than it is to learn how to move weight fast.
Yeah,
that's a hard thing.
And that's exactly what I tell people here. You have to be strong before you can be fast.
Correct.
And so people try to be fast without being strong, and they get broke.
Yeah, they'll break, and a lot of times it's, well, I'm ready to start on the velocity stuff, and we say we understand that, but we have an on-ramping phase for us where you've got to learn how to accept force in your arm before we just say let's blow it out and go to the throttle. Because ultimately, those kids that aren't strong, if you got a kid who's 130 pounds, you can't just put that kid on pull downs and say good luck, man. That kid's arm's gonna explode, and it would explode anyways. It could be a 5 ounce, which is a baseball weight, and the kid's gonna explode at some point just purely because he's not strong.
Yeah, you can have an elbow mess up.
Oh yeah, he's gonna his UCL may explode, and that's
because they don't have the UCL don't have the strength to hold the force.
Right, it doesn't have the force acceptance it needs, which I think from a weight training standpoint, that's a huge piece that people just dismiss about weight training, is the understanding of how to hold force in whatever range. If it's bench press or squat, you're having to hold a certain amount of weight and apply force against it, and you're having to balance it. You're having to control it. And I guess that's not a thing. And I would say in high school baseball, it's not a thing for a lot of high school baseball players. From a coaching standpoint, they're not really big on lifting weights, and we're not really sure why, but we'll keep.
I guess just the stigma. I guess they kind of grow up with. You know,
absolutely.
Especially for playing daddy ball, or some of these high school coaches, they were coaching baseball, and they may not have been in. You're only going to go as far as your knowledge extends.
Correct.
So if you don't have the experience, if you've not thrown 95 or above, it's very hard to tell someone to get someone. Like when I was at Clayton State, I out-jumped all my basketball players in vertical jump. And they looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, let me tell you something. If I can't jump, how do you expect me to teach you how to jump?
Right.
You know, and immediately, y'all respect me because I cannot jump you.
Correct.
Because I'm older, I look like I can't jump, but I win.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I like about y'all, is y'all do the same thing. So now that you don't have to look like you can or can't do it.
You just got to put up results.
And
Results
so
time.
then you show them, just like y'all do, and then you start immediately, you get a respect level.
Yeah, and then for us, we've actually had some guys that have maybe come into our facility, doubted it, not really seen what it's about or whatever, and I've given them the simple challenge. If you can come in and throw a baseball harder than I do, you can pull down a baseball harder than me, I'll train you for free. But if I beat you, you have to pay me, and I've yet to lose.
Yeah.
So it just, people look at you like you don't throw hard, and that's fine. The beautiful thing about our sport is different body types can play if they can put up the results. It's just really, really hard to be 170 pounds and throw 96. Like, it's out of the 25 guys 2 years ago that sat above 95, so average fastball above 95, out of the 25, 2 of them were below 220 pounds. 2 guys. So there's something to be said for body weight and strength. There's something to be said at the major league level. We can't have our high school kids be 150 pounds wearing mediums and then saying, hey man, you're going to go play at Tech. You're not.
Yeah.
You're just not.
That's why they have weight classes in powerlifting too. If you're heavier, you're automatically going to be stronger.
Correct.
And so I've even tried to tell people, I've even said on some other podcasts, if you just go work on skill only, whether it be soccer, baseball, pitching, if you skill, and you don't lift weights, that's going to be your limiting factor.
Correct.
And then if you just work on weights, without your skill, then that's going to be your skill's going to be you either
Correct.
got physical ability, which is the weight training.
Yep.
Then you have skill, which is whatever your sport is.
Yeah, whatever
and
you're
you
moving
kind of mesh the two together. Now, how much of each one you need within that pie depends on your God-given ability.
Correct.
Like you said, some guys come in, they're real light, can throw real hard.
Yeah.
You know, if they get heavier and stronger, it'd be even better.
Yeah.
And so I think people need to quit. I guess the weight room's got a bad rap because if you look at the U.S., it's mainly fitness. What you
Correct.
see
Yeah.
is like a lot of CrossFit stuff, like ultra high reps, and you see bodybuilding, and you see fitness shows. You don't see on the shelves when you go to the store. You don't see sport performance magazines.
You should.
You see health and fitness, bodybuilding, and figure competitors. And the way they train is totally different. I don't know if you see some CrossFit or even powerlifting. People see that we powerlift, but the key for athletic performance is increase your relative strength.
Correct.
And so, like a lot of people don't know, the average Olympic sprinter squats 2.5 times their body weight.
Which is
But they
nuts.
see them doing track skills. And another thing that pisses me off about people who want to do speed training, running development, speed skills, they use ladders all the time.
Oh, God.
But you'll never see Bolt or in them use that stuff. But again, the mainstream media is going to play out some fancy stuff to where they think that that's going to work, and that ain't the true nuts and bolts. You know, it's just they have to get out. You know, results come from hard work,
No doubt.
not easy stuff. And a lot of people don't want to squat because squatting's hard.
Squatting sucks. Squatting's never been fun.
Yeah, squatting sucks. But if you like, I guess y'all were talking to Ben Baggett earlier. We're monitoring our squat speeds,
Yeah.
which makes it squatting more of a game. So, like I was telling him, I went up 40 pounds in strength speed within 3 weeks.
Which is huge.
And so now I'm able to move a heavier weight at the same speed I was moving my lighter weight at by 40 pounds. And so that's the thing, like I was training Zach Lasky for the NFL Combine.
Right.
And he went from moving 315 at 0.6 meters per second to moving 405 at 0.6 meters per second. That's 90 pounds of straight
huge.
speed that he increased.
That's huge.
So what happened, he also gained body weight. So he went from 215 to 230.
Wow.
He was moving, this is where we're going to get relative strength. He was moving 1.47 times his body weight at 0.6 meters.
Right.
Now at 405, although he was heavier from 215 to 230, he's 15 pounds heavier
Right.
body weight. And now he's moving 405, which is 1.72 times his body weight at 0.6 meters. So he's moving a higher relative weight at the same speed.
Which is big, especially for baseball guys. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. How strong can you actually be? And I think the weight room is something that we tell our guys, if you can't do 4 things, you're not actually dedicated to your career. If you can't eat, sleep, lift, and read, then you're not dedicated to your career. Notice throwing is not one of those things, because you can I mean, you can get really, really strong, and you will throw harder than you did. But you can't just wait for puberty for the velocity fairy to show up when you're 17, and all of a sudden, like, velocity is going to happen. You're going to be 10 years old and you're going to throw 50. When you're 17, you will throw harder because of puberty, but that harder may be 73, and that's not going to play anywhere.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
And so, like last year, I was training the EC Bullets softball team.
Yeah.
Had an average. They didn't throw it all we did was workout. I was working specific muscles. You know, you got your pectoralis major, your minor, your biceps, your brachialis, your triceps, and your lats all involved.
Right.
And overhead throw.
Right.
And so what I did is I just strengthened those muscles with the appropriate sets and reps, and the team average went up 7 miles an hour without throwing.
Easily. Yeah.
And so what happened? Okay, now there's a point to where I can increase their throwing speed by strength training, but after I get my initial bites, we need people like you.
Yeah, that's what we specialize in. That's
to
what
further
we do.
that, because once they gain that initial, like you said, they're going to throw harder.
Yeah.
But then their limiting factor is going to come in because they're not working on the skill itself.
Yeah. So there's been multiple guys. I mean, we have guys in our facility that are strong and move like baby deer, and I mean, they're throwing 79, 80 miles an hour because of it. But if you're willing to bypass the strength piece and not do the strength piece, well, for us, you're not fit for us. Like, we don't want that athlete, purely because you're not going to be on the same plan that we have for you. Yeah. And then we're going to pack all this velocity into your arm. Yes, you'll throw harder because you'll get cleaned up, but you're going to break. You're going to get hurt.
You want model athletes.
Yeah, and a lot of times people think, well, I don't want to lift weights because I'll get hurt. Well,
I don't want to drive a car because I'm going to get in a wreck.
Right. It's just like, yes, you can get hurt lifting weights. You can get hurt throwing weighted balls. You can get hurt literally doing anything.
But if you don't do nothing,
do it right.
But if you don't do anything, you're not going anywhere.
Absolutely. And
so that's frustrating. You've got to take the chances on these different things.
For us, velocity wise, I mean, with every tick of velocity that you go up, 92 is more stress on the arm than 91, and more stress than 90 miles an hour. So you can be really, really safe. Trevor Bauer came out with a podcast, or was on a podcast talking about different arm slots, and what's the safest slots for each, for like force.
But you think it depends on the strength level of those slots?
Absolutely. I think if you're weak and you're down here, like we have younger kids, let's say 13 years old, that throw from this like kind of low 3/4, maybe sidearm slot. I'm going to teach that out of that kid from there, because he will get hurt with that. But if we've got like Ben Brewster from Tread Athletics trained with us last year, he's 225 and he's a monster. Well, he throws from that slot and leave him alone. I mean, he's strong. He can support that.
Kind of like everybody's got their basic technique, like a golf swing, like Tigers versus Jim Furyk. Jim Furyk's got the little twirl at the top of the golf swing. You got your basics, but then you got your own
everybody moves differently. Everybody's got their own quirks. Everybody moves a little bit differently. There are things that we have to connect on kinetically, like there's spots where we kind of want to be, but for the most part, I mean, every guy's different, and I think that's where you have to individualize your training. If you don't, if you put everybody in this cookie cutter program and tell everybody you're going to do 9 throws with this weight, then you're going to hold these, and then you're going to do this, and it's just this one standard protocol, that's going to, that might work for 25% of the guys that you just trained, but 75 of them are now applying at Target because they didn't get a college scholarship. And that's your fault, because we've got to be able to, you have to be able to sit across from your athlete when they're 18 years old and say, I'm the reason you got there, or I'm the reason you didn't.
You've got to be able to take our fault. Well, if they're consistent, they have to be consistent.
Right, well, no doubt. Work. Yeah, you have to have the right athletes.
And so, but like for what I do here sometimes is they have to get to a level to where then I could become more specific with them.
Correct.
Like Ben Baggett's doing different stuff than some of the other kids.
Yeah.
But they all may have to go through a phase. You know, you got general development, then you get specific.
Correct.
You go general directed, then specific. So you got those 3 phases. Yeah. And so a lot of people want to come in here and they want to do something specific. Well, if you didn't go to kindergarten, there's no way you can get out of 3rd grade.
Right. It's not going to work. And for us, it's the same way. If guys come in and they want to go straight into the velocity development, that's fine, and that's cool. But if you can't even long toss 50 yards, we're not going to put a weight ball in your hand yet. You don't need that. What you need is, one, to get stronger, and you need to be able to long toss further. So you're going to be on a very general. Alan Jaeger has a long toss program. Everybody in the country uses Alan Jaeger's long toss program, and you're going to get on it right away. You're going to on-ramp for at least a month before you even get into anything really specific. Now, our mobility stuff may be individualized, our warm-up may be individualized, and our recovery stuff, but from a throwing standpoint, there's really not much that has to be individualized for the athlete that doesn't throw much.
Now, what about if you got an athlete? I've got a phone call about this a couple of weeks ago,
Okay.
and perfect for y'all here because I don't know anything about throwing. I just know if you get stronger, you throw harder.
That's true.
To a point. The kid said, "Can you go from?" He throws, I think, around 80.
Mm-hmm.
He's a high school junior.
Okay.
No, he's a high school sophomore at 80.
Okay.
Can he go from 80 to 90 in 2 years?
Yes.
What do you think he could top out at?
Who knows? As far, who knows, right? So depending on
But
the kid,
80 to 90 is easy, right?
80, I would say the 80 mile per hour to the 90 mile per hour range
About 90 what?
is
1,
the
2?
easiest. For me, it seems to be what we've seen. Anything north of 91 gets tougher. Right? Like you're not going to go from 90 to 100 in 2 years. I mean, you could. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not the. There's no guarantee on any of it. Who knows? Someone probably has or will. But going from 80 to 90, the kid that throws 80 and he's a high school sophomore, there's probably a lot of things he can gain, right? Like he probably doesn't move really well, or his mobility's not great, or he's not very strong, or whatever. So you can make big chunks, right? You can make big jumps in the weight room. You can make big jumps in how he moves, and all of a sudden the kid throws 88. Connor Housley trains with us. He's a high school senior at Sandy Creek. He trained with us, started with us about a year and a half ago at 79 miles an hour. Was his very first baseline. Kyle called me and said, "Hey, we got a I guess he's 15-year-old. We got a 15-year-old. He just topped 79. He looks like he's going to be okay. He's not too bad. He's pretty lanky. He just needs to add weight." And I was like, "All right, sweet." Well, Connor has been sitting 87 to 89, touches 90 every game that he throws now.
And he went from what, 79?
He went from 79 to 90 miles an hour in a little over a year and a half.
He hit
Less than 2 years.
90.1
Hit 90.1 in our facility
last week, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And he's hit it outside our facility before that, but to hit 90 miles an hour in an indoor mount is, I mean, that's pretty tough.
We'll
to
talk
do.
about some of the, to further that. Let's talk. That kid went from 79 to 90.
Yep.
91, you said,
Yeah.
in a year and a half,
Yep.
basically. What other results have y'all seen?
So
Talk about some things like what Ben Daggett did a 102 in a pull down.
yeah, so Ben throws pretty hard. Ben
But
punched
Ben's
102.
strong. He was
Ben's a
moving front-
monster.
Yeah, he
Ben's a
was front
monster.
squatting 280 today at a front squat at 0.68 meters.
Yeah,
so he was moving a front squat pretty good.
When we saw that, I told Kyle, I said, I don't even know if I could get it off the rack, I think, but I don't know if I could sit it down without standing, and I would fall immediately. There's no way. But Ben
works on his mobility.
Ben's big. Ben's big in a mobility,
And
from
he
a
works on
mobility
a lot of
stance.
strength too.
For us, Ben is the model of what it looks like to show up every day and hashtag grind.
Mhm.
Right? Like kids will put that on Instagram all the time. They're not really doing anything. They just hit like one bucket of baseballs. But for Ben, it's a legitimate thing.
Mhm.
Ben will start his day with the right nutrition to make sure that when he presses later, he's got the right nutrition in his body to make sure he's ready to go. And so for Ben, it's a mobility thing. His strength is there. From a throwing standpoint, he moves really well. I mean, that's why he's
working on that
That's why
pie
he's
we
a
were talking
Stanford.
about earlier.
Yeah, I mean, he's there.
It's
That's
4 things. His
That's what we
sleep,
want.
His mobility, his strength.
We've had athletes. Ben will be in our facility. He'll be stretching, and he'll do all his mobility stuff. And people are like, "Why is he still doing that? Why is his warm up so long?" And they're like, thinking like it's way too long. What's he doing? And then we're like, he throws 95.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
you should like.
it takes
learn
me.
from it.
I tell people, the more advanced you get, like when you get the advanced, or when you become more of an elite lifter,
Yeah.
it takes you just as long. It takes you sometimes longer to warm up than it does work.
Oh, no doubt.
And that's kind of what he's at right now.
Yeah,
it takes him
Ben's
longer to
lifts a long
warm up than it does actually do his throwing session.
His warm up is a long time. And I like a lot of our guys, maybe some guys don't need as much as Ben does from a mobility standpoint. Maybe they don't need as much from a warm up standpoint, but for Ben, that's what he needs.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys don't need that. Some guys don't need all of that. Everyone needs a warm up of some point. So everybody needs mobility. But like with Thomas Farr is another one of our guys. Thomas showed up the summer before last.
Was he still in high school? Or
He was a senior at Sandy Creek. He showed up right before tryouts. Said he wanted to train with us in January. we told him, how about you just don't play for your high school team? He's like, I'm going to play for the high school. So he started with us in May.
And it's hard to get them better during the season, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's not the coach's fault necessarily. It's just, or our fault or the athlete's fault. It's just sometimes it's tough.
Just
to
the wear and tear
just
with
There's
practice.
different goals. The coach wants to win.
Yeah, coach
focus on
which
games,
is his job. That's his job.
and not as much the development part where
Right.
it's hard to do both at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, because I'll have some football players, they'll come in at the beginning of the season, out of season, and even if they come, the ones that come consistently may not lose, but the ones that do not come during the season, they will lose 2/10 of a second off their 40-yard dash.
No doubt. No doubt.
And so, and you also see that with, like, how to explain, like, with their throwing. So when they're coming in through the season, like for Thomas, he's still to play for his senior season.
Yep. And then he started with us in May.
Okay, so where do you start at?
He said that he had top 92, I think he had top 91 or 92 that summer or that fall. But he weighed about, what, 170?
Maybe around there.
Maybe it's like 171. Not a big lifter, just wasn't really his thing. So we just started with just the one thing that we do kind of know strength training wise, which is just general strength.
Which
just
most
add,
of the kids we get at the beginning, there's no
That's where
general
they're at.
strength at all.
None.
It's weighing 140 pounds in high school.
and
they're
even
just like,
Wendy's 4x4s.
and that, with
that's all
Connor,
that.
he was 140, 150.
Yeah. Connor was 151. I
He's
think,
still
when he
not
started.
big, but he's
Is
gained
Connor Morgan?
20.
Connor Housley, the kid
Okay.
from Sandy Creek, and now he's 170 something. But with Thomas, he came in 91. Thomas throws pretty hard now. He sat 94 and punched 97 this fall. I mean, he's going to be a draft
So
pick.
that's another one that's going past that 91 mark up to 97.
Yeah. So then
And I think
going.
Ben Baggett told me he topped out. He's at 95.
Yeah, going 91 to 97. I that's unreal.
That's
Like, I'm
surprised
not
us.
sure.
That's-
I actually called him and was like, dude, are you taking steroids or something? Because like you're going from 91 to 97 is nuts. I mean, that's crazy to go from that. That's 6
Steroids.
miles an hour. I'm
That-
like,
that
that's
goes-
got to be it.
Steroids is strength.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like a lot of sometimes in high school, these guys don't work out at all.
Yeah, none, zero.
And then they go to college and they're so far behind. So
Oh
then
my gosh.
they start, sometimes they'll go to junior college. And I know some of the junior colleges juice them.
Yeah.
The only reason they're doing that is because they got to catch up for what they have not
Kids got to
had.
catch up. Kid
Yeah.
can't even squat
And,
at all.
and so it's,
Gotta
it
have
may
it.
not be morally, but it's probably the right thing to do. You just everything.
From a development standpoint, it's like we got to get this kid on track.
Yeah, you got to go from point A to point B real
Yep,
quick. And,
you got to get him on track.
and it's, like these athletes, like these world's strongest men
Yeah.
and these football players, they're not doing it for health.
No.
and so I think people got to get out of it. Well, that may not be healthy. Like you saw me today after I squatted, I couldn't walk.
Yeah, I know.
And Ansley Gunner, she throws it all right.
She has thrown with us in the past. She hurt her shoulder, I think. So we're hoping to help her rehab back from that.
Yeah, and she goes, Jerry, I don't think you should squat. And Ben's over there, no, let's go.
Ben's psycho. Ben's a crazy man.
And so I said, look, I just got to get through it. I said, I'm not quitting just because I'm hurt. And I think that's where sometimes these kids, they'll have like a little weenie problem, like, oh, I don't feel good today. Well, then if they don't feel good, we still tend to them on their squats, and they beat the squat speed records.
Yeah.
So it don't really matter what you feel like, it matters how you perform.
Absolutely.
And sometimes like that may not be the most sane thing to do for people because that's not an average thought process.
Right.
Well, you're not after average results, and I'm not after average
No.
results. So we got to have people that don't think average. Because
Yeah.
average people give you average results.
No doubt.
And so just like Thomas, he went from 91 to 97.
Quickly.
But he was probably doing something to help him get from point A to point B. I mean,
Yeah.
his work ethic. I mean, I knew he hangs out with Daniel Blair.
Yeah, his work ethic is off the charts.
And-
Him and Daniel.
He got in the weight room.
Yeah, he weighs 2.
He
He
started
weighed in
lifting
yesterday,
a
I think, at
lot.
205.
Yeah, because
a lot stronger.
He started start deadlifting.
He started deadlifting, squatting,
everything.
basically just the bare bones of like,
Just
can
general-
you even squat
Squat,
225
deadlift,
pounds?
bench.
Yeah, just a general bench. You said bench and he throws.
Oh, I know. Isn't that like the?
You're not
You're
supposed,
gonna,
you're
gonna
not
break
supposed to bench and
your
throw.
shoulder is gonna explode if you bench the bar.
I know, but like I said earlier, your brachialis,
Yeah.
your biceps,
Yeah.
your rotator cuff,
Are all muscles.
your triceps, your pectoralis major and minor, they're all involved with the bench press.
And they need to get stronger. So you
Okay,
can
so
not
those
break.
muscles I just named, and your lats are all involved with throwing.
Correct.
And it's particularly overhead, whether it's softball
Yeah.
or baseball, or whether it's swinging a tennis racket.
Yeah,
overhead.
tennis and baseball actually correlate.
And
They're
so I
really
actually have
close.
a a 15-year-old girl hit 104 on a tennis serve in here.
God almighty.
And so we're tracking that too. And so she was a 190-pound bencher.
That's more than I can bench press.
But sometimes that strength is good, like we said, but her limiting factor may be her skill set. So
Right.
she's got mental problems on the tennis court because if she hits a
That's
bad
called
serve,
the yips right there.
and so then she's got to worry about that. So her limiting factor is not her strength.
Yeah.
It's not her serve. It's her mental game.
Yeah.
We have
She's got
kids
the
who
yips.
have the same thing. They
Domed
make
up.
one bad throw, something, and then the rest, their whole training day is
See ya.
just done. They're in their head, and
And I think that goes back to your.
You know what? I think this baseball, this lifting thing's got a lot correlated because a plateau or some limiting factor is either mental, technical, or physical.
No doubt. Every time. And I think.
And that's with baseball or lifting.
Yeah, they actually walk hand in hand a lot. I think when we talk about average athletes, Kyle Bodie of Driveline Baseball talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
He says if your goal is to play in the big leagues, then there's certain requirements that you have to do to get there. You have to chase it. You have to be Ben Baggett. You have to have no other life
Ben benches.
other than I'm sure he does.
And Daniel benches. And
We're bench press guys.
And they're both pitchers.
The stigma forever from baseball has been don't bench press because if you bench press you'll break your arm or something.
Or your
Or
shoulder will get tight,
oh yeah,
or
that's it. Your shoulders will get
you
tight.
won't
Which
be able to move. and-
sure,
But-
that's with all things.
I mean, I was messing with Ben the other day. Ben, I bench press, but I don't work on mobility.
Right.
And so we held our arms up like that to throw.
Yeah.
My pec right here is pretty tight.
Yeah.
Compared, Ben's is kind of mushy.
Ben's is a bag of jelly.
But that's because he works on his mobility.
Ben's also in our
You just have to
facility
have that
getting
knowledge to
he's
know,
getting-
like, if I'm gonna press the strength, also add the mobility.
and for us that makes like we don't see them as why would you chase one without the other? Like
Yeah.
why would you even do that if you're gonna throw? For you it's different, right? You're just trying
Yeah,
to bench
I don't
press.
care about throw.
For our guys
I
that
throw a
know
football,
they
still
need that.
50 miles an hour, but I'm not a football player.
Yeah.
I can just throw football. I'm not a baseball player. I don't care about
Strong.
that. So I'm just strong.
Yeah.
I don't know what my throwing velocity is, but I threw a softball earlier. I tore my tricep in February.
Oh god.
And so then when I threw that softball, I could feel my tricep right there because it's
Just
still not
exploding.
100%. And so that's okay. That's kind of where I feel my tricep.
Yeah.
And that's kind of crazy how it does kind of work like that.
I just don't for bench press it doesn't make much sense because so if you're gonna tell somebody not to bench press, that's fine. Tell them not to bench press, but also you have to be responsible to pay for that kid's college when it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Bench
But-
press for us, we're all for it.
Yeah, I think, but a lot of people don't know how to bench.
Yes, fact.
Because the way we bench in a powerlifting style,
Right.
not a bodybuilding style.
Yeah.
So we're more arm dominant when we bench, and we're not shoulder dominant. Because if
Right.
the more flat you are, if you're here, that shoulder kind of grinds.
Right.
And
Right.
socking, you can mess up your labrum.
Correct.
When we bench, we arch. We put the top of our traps on the bench. We come out and we press. That way, we're still strengthening our pec.
Right.
Our biceps have to stabilize the bar. Our triceps have to lock out the bar, and our rotator cuff there is stabilizing our shoulder.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, right? Like if you're gonna do anything, it's not just bench pressing or throwing weighted balls if you're gonna do it, you have to be able to just, and it's not hard. Google exists. Just read on how to do it well.
Yeah, like you said earlier,
and then
read,
you can do
sleep.
it. If you can eat, sleep, lift, and read, the answers are there.
Mhm.
Like you can learn how to bench press. You can learn how to throwing 90 miles an hour is not a hard thing.
Yeah, just like jumping to 36, we jump a lot of 40-inch verticals around.
I've heard about the verticals in this place, and I'm
Let me take
impressed.
Ben. He would come here, do a vertical jump. Next day, he would go to y'all's facility and throw some of his best throws.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
And the days he did not jump, he did not have as good days. And so I was asking Daniel if he would do the same thing. I'd like to see if jumping in baseball and throwing speeds correlated.
We thought
I know it has a lot to do with rate of force, because you got to have a good stride off the mound.
correct.
And if you cannot, you can squat the house, but if you don't move that squat bar at a certain rate of speed, or you cannot apply that strength that you gained into usable power, squatting's not good.
You just look cool.
Yeah.
Just look big.
And so we're not here squatting. Ben was only squatting 280 for a front squat, not massive
Yep.
weights, but was moving it at the appropriate speed.
Right.
You know, if he was in there squatting 315 or 335 or 365, but he was moving it at 0.3 meters per second,
Yeah.
it's big weight, but he's not even getting any power out of
Yeah,
it.
there's nothing there. And I think for us, I talked to Daniel last week, right? I think right before he shot the podcast with you, about trying to implement what we call primers for the arm, just like quick twitch movements. And a jump would be that. How do I apply force quickly for the lower
From the
half?
ground up.
Yep. And so on the mound, you have to do that. If you don't apply force into the mound and then accept force on the front leg, we've got to be able to brace force well.
Yeah,
we have a lot of kids that can't brace force well, or they don't know which kind of like which angle to apply it back into your body.
Yeah, that's
if they don't
why
do that well. They're toast.
We'll come over here with a dumbbell jump.
Yeah.
Where we're going down, our feet are in contact with the ground the whole time until we take off.
Right.
And then we'll do a depth jump sometimes in between our squats, which we're falling from a certain height of box. So if they have a 24-inch vertical or above, they're going to start with maybe a 24-inch box.
Right.
And so they're falling down off that box. They have to absorb that force, then they have to get it back.
Right.
And then land. So that's just kind of like when they're pitching, they're using dumbbell jumps to push off the mound.
Correct.
And that depth jumps to catching aspect where they're having braking forces.
Yeah.
Then be able to use it.
Yeah, in the baseball world, it's lead leg blocking or front leg bracing or whatever term. But ultimately, if you don't do that well, if you don't block well on the front leg, there's probably people that do it and throw hard. But if you leak that front leg, you're probably not gonna throw very hard. I mean, it's just fact.
We had a kid the other day doing pull downs. 1 week he was like 83, 84.
Mm-hmm.
The next week I videoed it. His lead leg block was terrible and he topped like 78. Just huge decrease just because he wasn't accepting the force and he just
kinetically broke down and it was toast.
Yeah, you can only go, you're not going to drive a car 90 miles an hour if you don't have brakes.
No, gosh, no.
And so it's the same
No, you
thing
gotta have the right
what
brakes.
y'all are talking about.
Yeah,
you
you gotta have the right brakes.
You know, your legs are moving so fast that your hamstrings don't have the braking forces to stop it as it moves forward.
Correct.
Especially in a sprint.
Yeah.
And so same thing, y'all saying the same things happen in baseball.
No doubt.
If that leg can't catch that force that is about to be applied to it, it's going to slow down.
It's going to slow down because it's going to get in that fight or flight and it's going to say
That's pretty good.
stop.
Well, yeah,
It's going to say stop doing this, throw slow, because your body doesn't care that you throw slow.
yeah.
The
it's gonna be
scouts
slow down or break, and the body's just
Yeah, the
saying,
body's
"Let's
going to
slow
protect
down."
itself. The body
No
don't.
doubt.
The body don't want to change either.
Absolutely.
The body's lazy.
Yeah.
And so it's up to us in our mind to make it change.
Yeah.
You know, you can get kids in there and they can want to do it and they can not want to do it.
Yeah, and I think for us, we talk to parents all the time. They come in and sit and talk to us and they ask us what makes us different or why are we good or what. We're not any good at what we do. We don't claim to be any good at training baseball players. What we are good at is we are very good at external motivation. We are bumper lanes. We sit at the very first meeting, we set a goal. For Daniel Blair, when he first came in, he's probably not happy to talk about it. But
No, let's just talk about, okay, that way people out there can understand what process is, you know?
yeah.
So like, let's just talk about, all right, I'm Daniel Blair walking in for the first time.
Yeah, so the first thing we'll do is we'll obviously give a tour, kind of walk you through, kind of show you what it looks like. And then we're going to sit down, we're going to go through goals. So part of the goal is figuring out the where you're at, right? So what are your strength numbers? What do you even look like at all? Give me what lifts do you do, and what do you even do for 5 of those or 3, just so we can get any sort of general number on what do you look like strength-wise, what does your body weight look like. We'll do a mobility assessment with that athlete. But then when we sit down and we set goals, we try to make them very specific. Something I learned from Ben Brewster at Tread was we need to have outcome-oriented goals, we need to have metric-oriented goals, and we need to have process-oriented goals. So outcome-oriented goal for Daniel Blair, he first came in, he had 3 weeks to train with us. That was it before McIntosh started. He was at 87. He was at 87. I said, what do you want to be at in 3 weeks? He said, 96. I said, you're crazy. You need to leave. This is not for you, Daniel. And so then after we calmed him down and said, that's not going to happen.
Results come in
Like,
time.
yeah.
People can't come in to get a
Like,
result.
buddy,
We
like
always
this.
get the
It's
question,
not pixie dust.
how hard will I throw in 5 weeks? And it's like, I don't know. Do you work hard? Are you
Yeah.
going to show up? Are you
Yeah.
going to lift? Are you going to throw? Are you going to eat? Are you going to
gonna
do what
dedicate?
you need to do? If not, you're probably going to be the same.
The only
Yeah.
guarantee we'll give you is that if you do not work hard, you will get 0% better in our facility.
Yeah.
That's all we got. We're not pixie dust. We can't sprinkle it.
No, I can't throw the ball for you.
Right. We can't do it.
I can't lift. I can't make Ben move that at 0.6.
No.
They have to kind of want it.
Yeah. I
But
think,
then they're consistent. They have to be consistent. They have to want it.
yeah.
Then they have to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think those athletes that get through, let's say if Ben would have moved that at 0.45 today and it would have just been a down day, the guy who shows up the next day, the guy who shows up after that, you can see it.
Yeah.
Like for our guys, when they invite their parents and their grandparents and their girlfriend comes and everybody flies in for their bullpen and they're trying to punch 90 and they top 87.
Mm-hmm.
Do they show up the next day ready to rumble? If they don't, then we know that's not a guy that's ready to go.
if the athlete shows up after a couple bad days,
Yeah,
and they
it's
keep-
the trauma of failure.
That's grinding right
It's the
there.
trauma of failure. That's what it
Everyone
looks like.
has the bad days. A lot of the kids expect like it's all out.
Oh, yeah, it's
there.
every week.
Every
You just
week I'm gonna
record,
break
and then you
record,
throw
break
100 in
record,
10
and then
weeks.
Most of the time, it's you break your record one week, and then next week
You're not
you're
gonna
be low.
It's not gonna happen.
It's like
Very
we even
rarely.
had kids in the same bullpen break a record, 5 balls later, be lower, and they're mad, and we're like,
PR, man.
that's
a big thing.
still above your previous record. Like
It's a good thing.
you're still throwing harder.
Yeah,
than
I
you did
find that the
before.
same thing with the jumps.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, like the last week of the month, we'll come in, we'll test, they'll break their all-time vertical jump record.
Yep.
Or sometimes if they break that, because we still jump all month long, no matter what.
Right.
Sometimes if they break that record before test week the number's crap.
Yeah.
And so I think it's the week after a record's broken, the week after,
The
like
week
y'all
after
said.
is toast. It's hard to PR twice. It
Yeah.
is like that's why we in our facility we go crazy anytime there's a personal record. I mean, it could be a 12-year-old hitting 54, and that's not a great number for a 12-year-old. But if he hits that number and that's his PR, we're going to go crazy because we understand that those don't come often, and they only get further apart as you get older. Like for Thomas to go from 97 to 98, that's tough. I mean, to gain
huge.
half a mile an hour
That's
is
huge at
massive. To
at
go
that
from
point.
97 to 98.
How many
97
people
to
do y'all
98 is
think, how many people do you think, like I've had, I think right now, 40 inch vertical jumpers. And to jump 40 inches, you gotta have a lot of power.
You gotta be a monster.
I had a kid who plays linebacker for Clemson at 240 jump a 40 inch vertical. And I had a kid at 300 pounds jump a 34 inch vertical. So we can generate force very quickly.
Right.
For a long time, I hate this thing that people say, you're only as fast as what you already are. No, you can get faster whether it's
Yeah.
running. People say you can't improve your jump, and I proved that you can.
Yeah.
And now y'all are proving that if I come in to y'all and throwing 60, y'all are gonna get me to 70.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Quickly. You can go from 60 to 70 by me just smacking you in the back a couple times. Like, yeah, adrenaline will take over that.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of people will look at it and say, well, I throw 78, so I need to now work on my craft, right? I need to have 19 pitches. I need to throw from 47 different arm slots.
And throw
And-
99%.
And throw,
strike.
yeah, throw this
Never miss
fastball
the
command at
strike
100. Well, major league pitchers throw fastball command at about 65%. So stop telling your 11-year-old that he's going to throw 80% command. It's not going to happen, first of all. Second of all, you can throw harder. What velocity does for us in our game is it gives your margin of error, it shrinks it. So if you throw 99 down the middle, it's still pretty hard to hit. 89 down the middle is not very hard to hit. 84 down the middle is called batting practice. That kid works at target. Like that's not what you want.
For me, listening, not knowing speeds, because I don't get,
Yeah.
I'm not in the batter's box, but
Yeah.
those are not very big numbers and change to me.
Yeah.
But it's huge.
84 to 89. If you throw 84 and you go from 84 to 89, you just went from I might play at the NAI level to I could play at some pretty decent Division II. You might play at a D1. You might walk on somewhere. You might play at a smaller one. I mean, if you hit 90 miles an hour, that's like the barrier. I think that's the number. And in reality, 90 miles an hour is not very good. That's not very fast.
So yeah, so again, 90 is easy to get to.
Yeah, 90 is not very hard if you're willing to do the other stuff.
What
right?
about
Like,
how easy? Easy. I know it's. I guess going from a 40 inch vertical is easy to get to. That may be a 90 mile an hour ball or 95. 44. I've only had 3 people jump 44. Is that the 100 mile an hour mark?
I would say
I've
that's,
had
that's probably the
98.
I would say that's like 95, 96 is the 44. Because I mean, you punch 95, you're a big boy. I mean, you're a dad.
You're
right
a
there.
dad.
That's
Ben's a big boy.
Ben's a dude. Ben's a
Yeah.
dude. I mean, you punch 95, you're a dude. That's
Okay.
that's a big number. I mean, they put flames on it in the MLB for a reason.
What do
That's a
we-
number.
What do we do, or how can we get people to reach that 100?
To reach 100.
Yeah, we need to reach 100.
So I think reaching 100,
What do you think?
everything
okay,
has to work.
Okay, the mobility.
Mobility's got to be right.
They got to have strength.
You got to be a monster.
They
in the
got to have
weight
great
room.
force development.
Got to be able to apply it.
Yeah.
Yep. And you got to move really, really well.
What exercises in y'all's facility have you seen correlate to throwing? Do you think it's just the general lifts at the beginning, just the bench, squat, and deadlift? Well, let me tell you this. I learned from Charles Hollickman, one of the greatest strength coaches to ever live. 80% of all athletics can happen with a press. It don't have to be a bench press. It can be an overhead press. Some type of physical pressing movement.
Right.
That's actually a lift. Not a dumbbell press like a barbell overhead press or a
Right.
bench press.
Right.
Or it can be an incline press. Some type of real deal pressing strength movement, not a
Right.
mobility or not a auxiliary pressing movement.
Right.
A pull up,
Yep.
squat, and deadlift.
Yep.
With those 4 movements, you take care of 80% of all athletics.
Yeah.
And so, what kind of exercises are y'all using, or y'all seeing is helping with the throwing? Are y'all seeing any of
So
those?
from a strength standpoint, those are really that's how it's done in our facility. Mainly because we're not strong enough in the strength area to say, hey, let's change things and get individualized. Mainly what we do is say, hey, there's a guy named Jared right down the street over at Explosive, and he's pretty dang good. And then we send him here, and our top guys train here. So
Yeah,
from a
'cause you got
strength
Ben
standpoint,
back-
we got Ben and
Daniel.
Daniel. We just told Thomas.
What about Rachel?
And Rachel, from a softball standpoint, Rachel's a monster.
Yeah.
She's a monster, and her velocity went up when she really dedicated over here and to us. When she put it all together, and I think you have to have them. I don't think
Once
they
you
should.
get to an advanced level, you
You gotta have both. You gotta have both.
Yeah,
gotta
because
be
you don't
there.
see your NFL guys skipping weight room.
No, God,
Although
no.
they made it to the top,
Yeah, they're not
they
gonna.
still have to take care of the bodies.
Because they're gonna get killed if they don't.
Yeah.
And so for us, from a throwing side, one of the things that we do from an exercise standpoint, the pull downs are great. It's probably 5% of what we do. It's what we put on Twitter because nobody pays us for hip mobility.
No one
You know,
wants
they-
to see someone throwing plyos at 40%.
No, that's
Like,
not cool.
hey,
It's not cool. I want to
do
train at that facility. No, they want to see one of their friends punch 96 and be like, I want to be him.
Yeah.
So pull downs obviously are a good thing, but I think from a plyo care standpoint with our weighted balls that are rubber, just learning how to map really well, which what mapping is really just smoothing out, cleaning up the way your arm moves, the way your lower half moves. Where do they separate well? When does your foot hit? What does the timing look like? So you take all that strength, you put it into the athlete, you make them really mobile, and then you say, okay, now let's mold all of that to be really, really efficient. So that kinetically you move it. That's what Thomas Farr does better than everybody else. He moves better than everybody else, moves better than any athlete I've ever trained, from just a stretch standpoint. I mean, it just everything, the power transfers so well in his body, so he just guides 95. Whereas somebody like me, I mean, I'm like grunting to punch 90. I move pretty well, but he floats there.
Well, I guess that goes to the stronger you are. If you're throwing, like he says, 97, 98, he could back down a lesser percentage of his maximum effort, then you can control the 95.
Yeah, he's throwing change-ups at 90 miles an hour. He's throwing change-ups at my fastball speed right now. And honestly, he's throwing curveballs at most high school kids around here, most high school pitchers, at their max fastball with their girlfriend in the stands. He is throwing their max fastball for breaking balls. And that's I think that's the realization for a lot of athletes. You got to look and be like, I'm in the same draft class as that kid. And one of Kyle's biggest things is once you're about 15, age doesn't matter anymore. You either punch 95 or you don't.
Everyone
if you
has
don't,
the same goal of
you suck.
going to schools have only so many spots.
Yep.
The big leagues have so many spots. It's
You're chasing the same spots as the kid who's 19. If you're 15, you're trying to get in the draft just like the kid who's 19. You got to be better than that
It's
kid.
now a job. It's not a hobby. It's not a fun thing. This is now your job. If that's what you wanted to do it. Like, actually go for it. Don't just like, this is fun for now.
Yep. And if
Yeah,
you want
you
to
said-
have a life, do it.
Yeah, you said fun.
No,
it's not fun.
training's not fun. Training's
You
never
know
fun.
what they
Shouldn't
like?
be.
Parents are coming in. Oh, honey, did you enjoy it? I hope not.
Yeah, if you
It should
enjoyed
be
it,
enjoyed.
Yeah, and I
it's
told
probably
him,
those
I
people
said-
on
I
the
said,
ladders
look,
that enjoy it.
It's
Yeah.
not just hang out and chat. If you want
No.
to like go to World's Gym, go somewhere else. Just like it's
Yep.
not supposed to just be a social thing.
Yeah,
It's
we're not supposed to be here
get
for
your
fun.
stuff done.
Yeah.
We're trying to get better.
GY
Because that same parent,
I call it GYSD. Get your shit done.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. It's come in and go. I mean, you got to come in with you can see it on press days, on pull down days. When we have all of our college athletes come in, I mean, the atmosphere is different. You can cut the tension. I mean, it's big because guys come in ready to go. There's a
They
different
want to
atmosphere.
compete. They want to win. They
Nobody
want to be the
likes
best.
losing.
They
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
they don't even talk to each other. It's
Nope.
They just will stare at each other and then do their stuff, and then when
And
it's
then
time to go, they just
Don't say where. And then afterwards,
They
the
just
boys,
wanna
they're
be the
ready to
best.
rumble. But
Yeah, that's awesome.
But that's the thing, like Ben, we talk about it all the time. Ben, Thomas, and Daniel, and our other college kids as well. They're all competing to be the same guy. Like they're all competing.
Yeah,
to
'cause
get
they're all
drafted.
trying to get to that
They're
same
all
level.
trying to play at the pro level. They're all trying to win a Cy Young.
You got
one
this
day.
big pool trying to go to the top.
Correct. And so, Ben and Thomas are friends, and Daniel and Thomas and Daniel and Ben, they're all boys until it's time to rumble, and then it's like I'm gonna ruin that guy today. I'm gonna ruin that kid's life for about 25 minutes, and then after that, we'll be friends. We can go hang out.
Trying to take the time for y'all. Y'all got
I think
time?
we're good.
3:30 right now. 3:31.
We got a couple minutes. We got about 10 minutes, probably.
Okay. But I think so. We need to. So Daniel came in.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're so far off track of that.
So Daniel came in at 87. Daniel came in. We knew he had been lifting here. He actually came in an explosive mechanic shirt. And so I was like, all right, well, the kid's going to be pretty strong probably. Let's see what he's got going on. The work ethic was there, which I think was built here. I think just the mindset in general was built here. So when he got to his
competing with
mindset,
brothers,
I think just that mindset was there.
Yeah.
And then he got there.
You learn how to work.
Yeah.
If you're
There
here,
you go.
and if you've been here for a couple of years, you learn how to work.
Daniel's biggest issue was having to cut him down and be like, dude, like slow it down. You can't press every single day of your life. Like,
I think Ben's learning that.
We got to cool you down every once in a while, man.
And
like
Daniel,
understand intent levels.
Daniel really learned that this summer because he tried to push his
Oh my
squat.
gosh.
And
He was in there in our facility talking about how he wants his deadlift at 500.
And Ben tried to warn him, you cannot do this and do this at the same time and throw.
Yeah, you're gonna
fry.
break.
Something's gonna give.
You're gonna fall apart, or you're gonna pass out. You're just
Did he have a drop in velocity this summer?
Yes. Like all of a sudden, velocity just was like boom, and he was the same way. I think he came in here and he like tried to press, and then all of a sudden he was fried.
Yeah.
And it was like his whole body just said, "I'm gonna hibernate."
And I try to tell him, but what I think he really learned is that he had to experience that in order to accept it.
Yeah.
Because I think a young kid, they think they come here and grind and grind and grind. And like Mr. Baggett over there tries to push me, and I say, look, I gotta slow down. I'm a little old. Number one thing is I'm out of shape. I'm not in shape enough to keep up with these guys. If I get in better shape, then I can recover quicker and everything else.
Yeah.
So my limiting factor is my physical ability to stay in shape.
Right.
And sometimes I don't even get to train with all these kids here. You know, sometimes like when people don't understand,
That's where we're at.
although I have this gym, and I've got a gym next door, I've got 2 gyms, and sometimes I don't even get to work out, because when I bench, I have to have a spotter.
Right.
Because when I bench, I gotta come in here and I've gotta try to go for a certain goal.
Right.
Now I can squat and deadlift on my own.
Right.
Sometimes when I'm here at 9:30 at night, I gotta get out of here, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And that's the same for us. It's hard for us to throw a lot. And I mean, one of my athletes challenged me a couple weeks ago to a pull down challenge, and he said, "You haven't pulled down in 6 months," and he's right. I mean, I just don't have the time to do that. Now he learned quickly and lost that I could still do it, but I didn't have the ability to pull down, every couple weeks, and I didn't have the ability to lift. And the difference between him and I was the fact that he's been lifting and throwing, so he recovered really well. Where I had to like drive with my left arm for a week and a half because
Yeah, you're done.
Oh my gosh.
I did this a couple of years ago, and I hurt my arm pretty good. I was trying to prove to a kid that strength is important for throwing. I said, I can out throw you. And we just went out there and we just did, I've got my golf rangefinder. So I had someone, we picked a spot, we started at the same spot, and we threw, so wherever the ball landed is where
That's the winner.
we lasered. And so I won just because I was physically strong.
Yeah.
The kid was baseball in season, so he's already throwing.
He's
not
ready
like,
to go. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's like, there's no way this guy's gonna beat me.
And lost.
Well, there's no way I'm gonna lose.
No.
And so I beat him, my arm hurt right here.
Oh, the UCL, there it is.
Oh, that's what was killing me. I think, man, I was dying, but I wasn't gonna lose.
No, and
And so then he started pushing harder in the weight room. But we didn't throw again because I wasn't doing that crap.
you don't want to blow that thing out.
And so
I think that competition's half of it. And then guys who are stronger than me will throw harder than me purely because they're stronger than me. If they move as well as I do, they'll throw harder than me just because they're strong. I am 0% strong.
now, how'd y'all get into this MPH throwing? How did y'all get developed, and how did y'all get started?
So I was at another facility, and I reached out to a guy named Randy Sullivan. He used to be at the Armory. Now he's at the Florida Baseball Ranch. He was a PT for, I guess now it's like 27, 28 years. So I reached out to him and just said, hey man, I know there's a different way than sitting on a bucket and doing towel drill. I'm tired of doing it because no one's getting better. And I know there's going to be the athlete rapture.
So you got frustrated because people weren't getting the results that you.
But yeah,
you
because I finally looked in the mirror and realized that I'm not that good. Like just because I threw hard and I'm making a bunch of kids throw 76 and throw strikes.
Sitting on buckets
And just like
getting lessons,
30-minute lessons, no warm up, just
no
not
data,
good.
nothing recorded,
Couldn't track it.
nothing getting better, but
They went there throwing, so they thought they were getting better.
Yeah, and I thought they were getting better for a long time. And then I started tracking things. I realized like no one's getting better. They're gonna come. There's gonna be one day they're all gonna walk in together and say, "Hey, I'm not getting any better, and I paid you X amount of money."
Yeah, you didn't want to deal with that.
Yeah, and I want no part of it.
High school kids,
Doing the same thing.
freshmen, 15-year-olds, whatever, they're all throwing 78, and it's like,
obviously what
whatever
you're doing
he's
isn't
doing,
working.
it's not working.
Do what the
There's
elites
got to
do.
be something else.
Does Damaris Greer still come to y'all?
He does.
Now, how
Old
has
Damaris.
his work ethic changed in the last 6 months?
Correct.
Is he
Damaris
better?
Yes.
He came in at 134-ish, something. He started with us and started with you. I think
At the same time.
I think same week. Maybe the next week he started with you or something. Through 7, I remember his very first pull down. His dad said, "I want to see what he pulls down." I was like, "All right." So we on ramped him. We got him ready to go. He baseline 74.5, and I was like, "Yikes, that's really bad."
He was really
that's really bad.
He could squat. I think his squat was barely 200.
Well, he came in and he told us, he's like, "I'm really weak." And I'm like, "Well, duh. That's why. Why do you think
Well,
we're
we can
like?"
ask kids. We're like, just go look at yourself. Do you
Do
if
you
you
look
look
like
at
Mike
yourself and say that guy should throw 90? If the answer is no, change it.
Make yourself look like the guys
Make
that
yourself-
should throw
hold
90.
yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And so I was telling Ben, and I think Ben's even realized it, that Damaris' work ethics changed a lot. But what I was trying to get at with him, very specifically him, is he went to a speed training place before.
Yes.
He didn't get any faster.
No.
He went there. I don't care how much he paid, even if it's a $5 a month. That $5 a month,
You're wasting.
you're wasting because you're not getting
You're
a result.
wasting time. You have this much time left.
You had this much time in high school.
then
And
you have
by
none.
this time now he's like, no.
Yeah, it's got none. And so he came in, started training. His record as of now, I think, is 87.3 or something like that. So he went from 74 to 87 in about a year.
Yeah, because it's, well,
But he's also gained.
January will be January.
Actually, I think he hit 88, something like
I
that.
think it was 88.
It was like 88.4 or something like that. My
Somewhere
bad.
around there.
Yeah.
Higher than 70.
But he
But
went.
the point is, y'all are tracking results because you got frustrated, just like I got frustrated.
Yeah.
Because I used to work for Velocity back when I was in high school.
Oh yeah.
In college after I graduated.
Yeah.
They were not keeping track of results. They were not keeping these kids' 40s on track, and I was frustrated. So I started kind of doing my own thing. So we kind of butted heads with the facility manager because they were getting them in and running them in through a facility. And now, like Damaris went somewhere for a year, speed training.
Yep. And then,
He did drills, but he never got any faster. It's kind of like this.
there was no results.
Yeah, because they're not tracking. Because there's not a lot. I don't think there's no place around here that's got the ground room in order to track a 40-yard dash consistently.
Yeah, no, we don't. I wish we did, but we don't. So
I used to do it at y'all's place.
I know, when we first walked
on
in,
the side of the building, up
said
the hill.
explosive mechanics, and I was like, we're in a good spot. so we went there, and then I actually called Driveline. I called Mike Rathwell, who's their CEO. I just found his number online on their website, and I called it after working with Randy for about a year, just remotely. And I called Driveline. I said, I'm gonna try the same thing. So I asked him. I said, can I come to your facility with Kyle? Can we come out there and you show me how to throw weighted balls correctly? And they said, if you get here, sweet. So I said, Kyle, we're leaving the next morning. We left 5:30 in the morning.
Timing. They were just about to have their grand
So they invited us to their opening day. We showed up to their opening day. They asked us if we wanted to do it. So we went through plyo balls. We went through their assessment stuff. We went through their pull downs, which was frightening when you walk in and you see a 16-year-old that's like 6'6" that pulls down 100, and you're like, oh my God, I'm about to get blown up by this little 16-year-old kid. But we throw and we talk to them, and we went through kind of just learning what it looks like to train weighted balls correctly. And then we came back and we started implementing. That's when I met Ben. We kind of started just implementing stuff, and I was like, hey man, you want to train on this? And he was like, I already do. And I'm like, sweet, let's do it. So then
Ben's a pretty good student in the game too, because it's always, like you said, learning.
Yeah, he's just a reader. I mean, he does all the things you got to do to get better. I mean, that's all there's
So
to it.
basically, y'all, like I did, got frustrated with people not getting results, so you learned how to get them.
Correct. So, and because ultimately, I'm a firm believer that with every athlete, when they're a senior in high school, you're gonna do one of two things. You're either gonna champagne toast with their parents, or they're gonna say, "Why did I spend $10,000 and get 0% better?" It's one of those things are gonna happen. Parents don't actually like us that much, where we can make them worse and them still pay us money. We're not that nice or that funny. So you gotta make kids better. And we weren't doing that where we were at, and the facility's still great, and they do a good job of training athletes, and it's just a different model. We want the model that produces draft picks. We want kids to throw 100, and we want kids to be able to one day look back and say, I made $20 million because I throw 100 miles an hour. I had to pay for school for 4 years because I threw 76 and wanted to wear a baseball jersey. That's not what we want. We want someone to pay for your school.
Yeah, and so y'all started tracking results, and then
Absolutely.
Then you can weed out what does and what does not work, right?
Absolutely. So we have full player profiles for every one of our athletes. It's all run through Google Sheets. that has their
And y'all
goals
got
on
the-
it, that
the
has their
starting
ability
points
on
and
it,
stuff.
that's got their baseline stuff. We share it straight with their parents, that way their parents can see, like,
You're actually
the
paying for
kid's
this.
getting
you're
better.
this. Yeah.
Or if he's not, you can come in and say, why is my son not getting better? And then we can talk. We've had some parents like, hey, why didn't he go up on his pull down this week after he did last week? And then we just have the talk with them, like, it's hard to do that twice. And then we're able to educate parents. We invite our parents to be wherever they want, like, because we have a little bit different space than you guys have here. If you want to come in and sit and watch, sweet, come do it. Ask questions. We're open to it. If we have to hide our secret sauce that much from a parent that's not a baseball person, then we don't have that much secret sauce. Like, we're not that good.
There's not really a secret sauce. All it is hard work, dedication.
It's just like chase your goal till you get there.
If they go there and do what you say, you've done the research, and you weeded out what does and what does not work, and you track it.
Correct.
And so you've already got your proof.
Now it's just what's your work ethic.
Yeah, are you going to show up? Are you going to be consistent? Because I've had parents, why didn't my son's speed improve? Well, he only squatted 3 times this month.
Yeah, that's.
I said, are you going to get better eating 3 good meals?
Yeah.
Or are you going to have to eat consistently through the month? And I said, you're not here enough to get better.
Yeah, that's what
I said, just because you show up 3 times for squat, you may show up 6 times for bench.
Yeah.
Okay. Where is your where's your work ethic? Where's your dedication to the lower body part that sucks?
Right. And for us, baseball, it's 30-minute lessons all the time. And we ask our guys, like, that's fine. Try to learn an instrument playing for 30 minutes once a week and see how long it takes you to play one song. Let alone sync up crazy movements in your body at a high rate of speed and put it in a tennis can, and oh, by the way, it breaks. That's not going to happen. Like, you got to be there. You got to do it. You got to train on it. If you're not going to do that, don't play the sport. Pick a different sport. Pick something
You know what else I need to get on here is if she's home, she's hard-headed, Brandy.
Oh, McGregor?
Yeah.
She is hard-headed.
But she loves to work.
That is a work ethic girl. I remember when she was training with us, and she was, man, oh man. She would come over here, and then she'd come train with us, and she would just be dripping, like, Jared just destroyed my legs are so sore, or whatever. And she'd throw it, she'd get it done. She had to learn to work, because when she started here as a freshman or as a high school sophomore, she'd come in and try to take a nap all the time. No, Brandy, we're going to get up. We got to go to work. Naps usually good recovery model, I guess, but not necessarily for
You ought to get going.
I think we're going to be leaving in.
Now.
Yeah, we got to be bouncing.
All right. Well, Kyle and KC, I really appreciate y'all coming on. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, so we're on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. It's always at MPH Throwing or MPH Throwing Academy.
Do you have a webpage?
We do. It's mphthrowing.com. All athletes get a free training day. If you guys want to come in, you can either email us at mphthrowing@gmail, or if you want to just call our phone line, call our business line, which is on our website. They can come in, train with us for a day. We'll give you one free day to train, see if you like it, and if you don't, we'll even give you the business cards for the facilities if we're not the fit for you. We just want athletes to get better, sometimes not with us.
Yeah, it's not always about whether they like it or not. It's about if they get better. You're there to help. You're there to help people. You're not there to take their dollar.
No,
So,
absolutely not.
But I really appreciate what y'all
Absolutely.
do. I really appreciate that y'all are students of the game.
Yeah.
I think that's really big. If you can do it, that proves it to others that they can do it too.
Absolutely, no doubt.
We're not special people.
No.
We're just average people.
We're very
getting
average
non-average
people.
results.
No doubt.
So, Kyle,
Appreciate it, man.
Kyle, appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So for y'all, hey, thanks for listening. If you have any questions, you can email Kyle and KC, or you can email me at info@explosivemechanics. My Instagram is @explosivemechanics. Twitter is @explosivemec. Thank y'all for listening, and thanks again for
Yes, sir.
Kyle and KC for coming on.
Yes,
All right.
sir.